welcome to Olsem Wanem. We take you to the Autonomous Region of Bougainville, where we visit the Carteret Islands. We also feature the work of the International Organization for Migration in the Carteret Atoll. The Carteret Islands are a group of low-lying islands that are sitting on a time bomb. For over 20 years, the Carteret Islanders have been battling against rising sea levels. The question now is, for how long will these islands last before they completely disappear? And what will become of these people? For many of us in the urban areas, such as Port Moresby, climate change may not be so evident. We took a 2-hour flight with a representative of the International Office for Migration to the Autonomous Region of Bougainville to see the dramatic impacts of climate change and rising sea levels. From the beautiful Buka town, we got on a 3-hour boat ride to the isolated Carteret Islands. The Carteret Islands consist of white sandy beach, swaying coconut trees, surrounded by the blue seas. It is the perfect island paradise destination. But unfortunately, this group of islands are sitting on a time bomb. The Carteret Islands in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville are located 86 kilometers northeast of Buka. The Carteret Islands, also known as the Carteret Atoll, consist of 5 low-lying islands called Han, Jangain, Yasila, Yolasa, and Pule. The total land area is about 0.6 square kilometers and 1.5 meters above sea level. For the Carteret Islanders, the fight against climate change has been around for over 20 years. Agatha Maken, a chief woman on Han Island, tells us her experience.
Time solwara sabi ka mantap. Sapo si ka mantap lo night mi sabi kirapim ol pikinini na mi plasabe lusim dis lahap solwara sabi ka mantap longen na mi plago sanap long hap solwara inogo antap longen melo hablo misinya lo hauslot longol katliki sabi stap longen. Pasta mem before wetsan mi binap Olsem na mi pla istap na solware wok long kai kai place now na mi play wok lo suruki kam now na wetsan tu suruki kam.
For male and female chiefs on the islands, addressing rising sea levels has not been easy.
Mi pla sa mi kinda sol Olsi wolia lo stopim solwara. Bayinoken ka mantap lo place.
Carteret Islanders are said to be the world's first environment refugees. Now I'm standing here on Han Island, and this is where the village houses used to be. But due to rising sea levels, people have moved further inland. Evidences of what used to be here can now be seen during low tide. Coconut palm trees and various other trees along the shorelines on the Carteret Islands have been exposed to storms and rising sea levels, losing their grips on the sand and dying out. Here on the Carteret Islands, sea levels come up as far as your doorstep. Han Island is one of the two main islands in the Carteret Atoll. Han Island has a clinic, a primary school, as well as a church. However, these are not easily accessible by people from the outer islands. IOM has been working closely with Carteret Islanders through its IOM Development Fund, engaging communities to address development priorities as well as migration management programs.
To me, how I could describe it is in this way. This community, it used to be about 15 meters inside this sea lagoon. But because of the increase, because of coastal erosion, the community or the land size is becoming smaller and smaller. And this sea island also is only about 1.5 meters above sea level, which means that in the period of high tide, the water can flow from one end of the sea to the other over land. And this has happened in this community. And around November, all the time, they experience that situation.
Nemlomi benet hamai. Ailane nemlongem yolas. Ting hamas pla ting 36 pla family stap on this island. Lo stap lo mi pla mi play stap Olsem taso. Nogat Wanem ya transport Olsem kisim mi play go long housing. Na nogat school tu nogat 8 post tu lo here. Mi play sabe go taso lo. Emia long big play land diklik ya. Na mi play tu nogat Wanem ya radio. Lo mi play lo Usim. Kami play stop Olsem taso. Lo time lo win na Wanem ya solware sabe kamantap lo mi play wait tasol saposem big pla mi play nogat Wanem ya radio na transport longo hare plol island gatol radio na tok sabe time mi play bungi mol sila kain heavy mi play sabe wait tasol island lo mi play.
The question now is, how long will it take before these islands completely disappear? And what will become of these people? Welcome back, as we feature the Carteret Islands in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville. The Carteret Islanders have been battling against rising sea levels for the past 20 years, and as the years pass, the islands are getting smaller and smaller. Population growth, food shortage, and lack of fresh water have become all too common on these sinking islands. The Carteret Islands in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville are located 86 kilometers northeast of Buka. The Carteret Islands, also known as the Carteret Atoll, consist of 5 low-lying islands called Han, Jangain, Yasila, Yolasa, and Pule. The total land area is about 0.6 square kilometers and 1.5 meters above sea level. Many of these island communities have been located 15 meters within the sea lagoon. But due to coastal erosion and sea level rising, the islands have become smaller and smaller.
Lomiet milukim Olsem sampla heavy mi play bungim lohia long han milukim Olsem population and big platumas na ground emigo liklik.
And with an ever-growing population on these sinking islands, land has become scarce and village houses are being built right next to each other, even dangerously under coconut trees, which means you have to be extra careful in case you get hit by a falling coconut.
Solwara wok lo kamantap long island lo mi pla Olsem dong tinting blomi lo mi pla olmeri mi play one ting planti long mi play gat planti pikinini na solwara wok lo kamantap bagarapim island na Olsem mi play no gat hablong stop Thomas mi pla tu planti Thomas long island na same time tu time highwara emi big pla na emi kamantap na emi kamantap long backside na iko na ibagarapi mol swampitaro blomipla na before em swampitaro now no got swampitaro so now em banana em bagarapim banana em bagarapim breadfruit blomipla tu so this platu emi ko same time population emi grow na solwara tu emi kam na bagarapim mol geta something we emi plasa kai longem mi pla no gat creek lohia na mi plasa kisimwara lo tenkwara tasol but tenkwara tu emisot because mi play plantia so government emi salim sampla tank tu ikam na emi play work long survive long em Olsem so time no got rain mi plasa yusim kulau wara blok kulau lo kukim ol kai blo mi pla
which means that in the period of high tide, the water can flow from one end of the sea to the other over land. And this has happened in this community. And around November, all the time, they experience that situation, which means that any crop that cannot withstand salt is definitely going to be affected. Like, for example, the taro and the yams, the yams, actually, they are basically mostly the affected crop. Why? Because of the salt water.
Wanem Ole works with the International Office of Migration, or IOM. IOM has been working closely with Carteret Islanders through its IOM Development Fund, engaging communities to address development priorities as well as migration management programs. For the first time, we visit the Katat Islands in the Autonomous Region of Bougainville. These islanders have been hit with harsh conditions of sea level rising, food and water shortage. And as the islands get smaller, some believe that education may be the only way out for them. But unfortunately, not everyone is able to make it to school.
How are you today? education blo pikinini em big platru lo miet meeting osem. Also matin ol pikini ma school good na kisim school na go work na oli can go lo narapla place osem bogan inside inland na work long hab.
For over 20 years, Carteret Islanders have been battling against rising sea levels. And as years pass, the islands keep getting smaller and smaller. Population growth, food shortage, and lack of fresh water has become all too common in the atoll. Some islanders see education as a way of moving out and getting better opportunities outside the islands. But sending children to school is another challenge. We spoke to the head teacher, Mr. Toave.
Also matin lohia emblong display lanet han na ikatol liklik line sumadin uli kam lo naraplaylan lo site emblong fuel. So students lo disla school mainly from displaylan na naraplaylan lo site. Okay, just from the comments me kisim long all parents or sambla all citizens lo here. Planted teachers only saya kam now no saya complete term plongol. Only saya kam now only saya lusim school iko bet. I think only saya face him some problems well no na face him. Now time only lusim school na iko long buka. Em na bali ko stapol kita.
Separated by the sea, not every child from the outer islands is able to make it to school every day, such as those from Yolasa Island.
Long transport mo because look school stop long hap na school stop long hap em school em makem narapla tupla ilania tasol em good pala time liklik na time lo win now nogat now happy em sabe rap steret na all mangita solista kosem long way to na nogat kai na mi plehat.
It is also a challenge for parents even when their children excel further to secondary level.
Husat emi sabe work embai project pi. Na husat emi no work embai larim pikinini by staff now.
It is very difficult for these islanders to generate income to support themselves. Some islanders are growing and selling seaweed to generate income to support their families.
Long slowly click money make sim long seaweed emi make me long baim kai tasol kolos mi gat na school pitu mi luki mor seme mi no nap too much. Long start plongem plant all even Olsem whole island even planting more seaweed na time even got disaster na all seaweed it rip because wind is a strong too much tight too na carry me go emi lucy me play me go long ocean na me play got liklik line tasol now even emi woklo planning seaweed.
These islands are having a problem in terms of sustainability, in terms of life support for the population that is growing, while also other facilities like education, they are not even meeting the priorities of the communities also as much as they want.
Carteret Islanders are said to be the world's first environment refugees due to rising sea levels. In this episode, we feature the work of the International Organization for Migration under its IOM Development Fund in the Carteret Islands.
My name is Wanem, working on Sitole. I'm the Emergency and Disaster Management Coordinator for the International Organization for Migration. But I cover the whole country of Papua New Guinea. The program that we are having here on the atolls of the Carteret Islands is funded by the IOM Development Fund. The IOM Development Fund, it's a separate funding that is in IOM that supported the development priorities for countries, for our member states. So this program is there to enhance development priorities to be engaged by communities that are affected by migration. So the work that we are doing at this island is a migration management program where we are assisting potential migrant population how best they can prepare for migration, how best they can prevent migration, and in case that they are in the case of moving, how they can manage that migration, and also how can they achieve durable solution and development priorities.
Atolls has been a great concern for the ABG for so many years now, especially due to the isolation. That's number one of the area. It's quite expensive, especially in terms of services of the government to reach the people on the ground. And there has been programs or projects that has been put in place by the ABG in terms of trying to resettle the people to mainland Bougainville. That was done even before the crisis, but because of the crisis, it sort of stopped, and we have revived it to try to get people, especially from the Carteret, to move to mainland Bougainville. We cannot do it on our own. We need the assistance of other people to assist us in terms of NGOs, non-government organizations, or other organizations from outside to help assist her in terms of the developments.
And we have a program, a project that involves resettling people especially from the Carterets to the mainland of Bougainville. We started the process last year. We secured some land on the west coast of this island. Unfortunately, the land issues have become a problem and a challenge for the government because, as usual, there's been disputes on that land that we went to the extent of securing agreements and went as far as getting the BEC to approve the resettlement program based on the understanding reached with the landowners on the land. Unfortunately, at the last moment, it did not turn out well. So this year we will go back and discuss more with the landowners.
All what is just required is the community should take a leading role in terms of the management of the situation, and all the stakeholders, when they come, they are complementing the community effort, and when they are complementing those efforts, it becomes an approach which is inclusive, which includes the community and outside stakeholders, and we have one common approach in dealing with this situation.
And that's all for this episode. We would like to thank the International Organization for Migration, the Autonomous Bougainville Government, and the Carteret Islanders. If you would like to share a story, you could visit us on our Facebook page or send us an email via the address on your screen. From the Olsem Wanem team, it's goodbye for now.